Hello students, whenever you face difficulties and obstacles in your life, what is the first thing that comes to your rescue? It is nothing other than your own positivity that guides you away from your anxiety and negative thinking. Positivity nurtures resilience even in the face of life's day-to-day challenges. In today's video, I am going to help you understand a very short yet a beautiful poem, Dust of Snow, written by American poet Robert Frost. Dust of Snow by Robert Frost. Before we get to read the poem, let us first know about the poet's life and style, which will enable us to understand the poem much better. Robert Frost was born on March 26, 1874 in California. His work was initially published in England before it was published in his home country, America. He is greatly admired for his realistic depictions of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. Frost frequently wrote about settings from rural life in New England in the early 20th century, using them to examine complex social and philosophical themes. He is also known for his realistic verse portraying ordinary people in everyday situations. His poems appear simple superficially, but have much deeper and larger meaning to it. Once, Frost himself said that the best part of a poem is the unsaid part. Students, with that we understand that Frost's poems appear very simple superficially, but they have a much deeper and larger meaning to it. Frost is the only poet who has been honored with 4 Pulitzer Prizes in his lifetime. As we proceed, let us understand the images used in the poem. The first image used, and students, I would like you to note that there are few dark images used in the poem so that they correspond with the tone and the mood of the poet. Here, the first dark image used is of a hemlock tree. A hemlock tree is a poisonous coniferous tree that bears white flowers. This tree is generally associated with death and doom. The second image is of a crow. Crow, being a scavenger, is associated with ill omen, bad luck and sadness. In spite of its negative image, in this poem, the crow becomes a medium of positive change. Snow. The dust of snow or snowflakes that fall from the hemlock tree on the poet are white, soft and cold. Snow becomes a medium of positive change when it falls on the poet. So in this poem, it is a symbol of happiness. Now, let us read the poem. Dust of Snow by Robert Frost. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. To paraphrase the poem, students, I would like to remind you of the settings of the poem. This poem is set in winter season when the trees are laden with snow. On one such wintry day, the poet came and stood under a hemlock tree. As I told you, hemlock is a poisonous tree. Hence, it coincides, it associates itself with the mood of the poem and the mood of the poet. He was upset due to some unsaid reasons. So the poet was in a bad mood when he was standing under the hemlock tree. As he stood there, suddenly a crow sitting on the tree shook itself, making the fine particles of snow fall on the poet. The soft and cold touch of snow changed the poet's mood from sad to happy. In this way, a simple moment with nature proved to be very significant and saved his day from being wasted and held in regret. This small incident uplifted his mood instantly. Students, let us now proceed to analyze the poem. I'll be presenting you the figures of speech, the tone of the poem, the rhyme scheme, theme, title justification, and the message. Let us begin with the poetic devices or the figures of speech. The first figure of speech used in the poem is alliteration. Alliteration is the occurrence of the same letter or consonant sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words. Example from the poem: has given my heart. You can see the consonant H has been repeated twice. The next example: and saved some part. You can see the repetition of the consonant sound S here. Likewise, after alliteration, there is this figure of speech called assonance. Assonance is the prominence of a vowel sound throughout a line. When you compare it with alliteration, you see that in alliteration there is a repetition of the consonant sound, whereas in assonance it is the prominence of a vowel sound. The example for it is shook down on me. In this line, shook down on me, the O sound is very prominent as the letter O has been used thrice in the same line. We further have enjambment. When the same sentence continues to the next line without the use of any punctuation marks, it is called enjambment. Students, enjambment has been used throughout the poem. In fact, this poem is actually one single sentence which has been put up in 8 different lines. The next figure of speech here is synecdoche, a figure of speech in which a part is made to represent a whole. The example for it is, has given my heart a change of mood. When the poet says this line, that the incident has given his heart a change of mood, the word heart does not mean that only the heart is undergoing a change. It is in fact his entire self that is experiencing a better mood as a result of the action of the crow. Hence, the use of synecdoche. Moving further, talking about the tone of the poem. Though the poem begins with a very somber tone, the final tone of the poem is cheerful and optimistic. The snowflakes that fell on the poet have instantly uplifted his mood from sad and cheerless one to a happy and optimistic one. Rhyme scheme of the poem. You can see the end rhyming words here: crow, snow, me, tree. Hence the rhyme scheme is AB, AB. Theme of the poem. That is the central idea of the poem. This poem has 2 important themes. The first one is communication between nature and humans. We all know that man has a very inseparable bond with nature, and nature has a healing effect on man. It can cure man not only of his physical ailments but also of his negative human emotions. The next theme is of a large significance when compared to a small natural event. Sometimes a small incident can have a very large impact on us, just like in the poem, a small incident where the crow shook the dust of snow on the poet changed the poet's mood completely. Let us now move on to the title justification. The title Dust of Snow is very much appropriate as the entire poem highlights a small dramatic incident wherein a crow shakes down some fine particles of snow on the poet. The poet wants to convey that sometimes certain moments or actions which are simple have larger significance. They can change the mood or life of a person. The way a crow shakes down the dust of snow on the poet inspires and gives him the idea to shake off his depressive thoughts, become cheerful and do something useful. Hence, the title seems to be very appropriately chosen. Let us now move on to the most important part of the poem, that is the message conveyed. This poem conveys us three important messages. The first one, nature has the power to uplift our mood from despondency to joviality. All we need is the ability to appreciate the divine beauty of nature. Nature has a healing effect on our aching souls. Secondly, the poem talks about the power of positivity. Our attitude plays an important role in making us happy or sad. One should always be optimistic to tide over problems faced by us. One should be able to see the brightness amidst the gloom. The crow and the hemlock are all dark images, and yet the poet sees the color of happiness through them. It tells us that a positive change can emerge even from a negative surrounding. The poet expresses the significance of small things in bringing life-changing impact. The poet appreciates the beauty of the snowflakes, which changed his mood and saved many precious moments from being wasted away. Today, man is living in a stressful atmosphere. The poem teaches us to gain happiness from even little things. Students, hope the poem is very clear to you now. With this beautiful message, we come to a close of this poem. This poem has a great relevance even in the present times as it teaches us the power of positivity. Do share in the comments if you have ever experienced just the same as the poet. Thank you for watching.